So as we're all seeing, we're watching the BRICS thing pretty much fall apart. It was supposed to be this big threat to the dollar. I knew it wasn't going to be. If you follow my work, you can see my other video, Another Bricks in the Wall, where I pointed out like that they will never be able to do this. Now the idea was that, okay, they shifted and they said we're going to do a basket of currencies. That's actually even worse. And in fact, my colleague, Professor St. Ange, pointed this as well. He's a great follow, by the way. He's far more articulate and a lot more likable than me. But yeah, he pointed this out as well. It's like, in fact, any of us who follow this kind of crazy stuff knew there was no way they were going to pull this off with a basket. Remember, governments are parasitic in nature, and you can allow a parasite to a certain point, right? Let's say you have a friend that's a mosquito. I'm just, just whatever. Just imagine for a second here. You have a friend that's a mosquito. Well, you know that mosquito needs to have blood to survive, so you allow the mosquito to maybe, take a little blood from you periodically so that they can sustain life. Well, that's okay, right? I mean, because he's your friend. You can't have an entire colony doing that. You can't have millions doing that because you won't survive it, right? Well, that's where we're at. This is where you have to keep government very, 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 very small. And unfortunately, for a lot of my socialist followers and socialists who find me, because and I get a lot of grief, and no one gets more angry at me than the hardcore capitalists and the hardcore socialists. Both sides get more angry at me than probably anybody else, and it's because I'm calling out both sides on this. No, you cannot have this infinite growth of business because people are not infinite, right? So therefore, you can't have this infinite so-called quasi-capitalist where everything is constantly expanding. You can't have that, okay? Because the earth is finite, you are part of its mass. I've been over the science on this like dozens of times, okay? And this is, by the way, this is indisputable. This is, okay? My socialist people get all upset because, no, we can do it better. Like, no, you can't. You are no better than any of these other people. Stop believing your own hype. You are not any better. You are not morally superior, I promise you. None of you are morally superior. No one is more morally superior to anybody on this planet. You are all part of the same compost heap, okay? You are all part of the same decaying matter that makes up this planet. Is that in any way unclear for both sides? I mean, this is why I don't have a lot of friends. Okay? I don't clan, right? Because I'm not going to clan on this kind of stuff, okay? Because this is exactly what this is. Again, it's just objective observation. So this idea that, well, we can have, it's because the capitalists have taken over the means of production and they own everything and they're parasitic and everything. Okay, so you're suggesting that the government would be better? No, the people. You mean the government? No, the people. You mean the government, because the people are not going to do that, right? The people, what people will do as a default, let's say, if they own their means of production, is they're going to produce stuff for themselves. And then whatever they have excess, they're going to sell. That's it. That's what people will, that is your natural default setting. That is the default setting of all of humanity, right? No matter what country you're in, no matter what language you speak, doesn't make any difference. Your default setting is you're going to take care of yourself. And then if you have extra, you're going to sell it off or trade it off, whatever the case might be, okay? Sell it, trade it, whatever, it didn't make any difference. Or maybe you could donate it. You could give it away out of the kindness out of charity and goodwill, with the understanding that, like, well, what if I don't have enough to donate? This is the part where unfortunately, for my socialist people and the communist people, this is where this falls apart, right? Is because what if there's a bad year? What if there's 5 bad years, right? Like, well, they need to keep producing. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. You're trying to force the idea of people, and every one of these countries fails because of this. And eventually, they also fail because the people that are there then stop. They just, well, why should I work really hard if the other guy isn't working really hard? It's a race to the bottom. Both sides are delusional. This is really the problem. I mean, if you watch the TV show Fallout, it's like both sides are delusional. Both sides believe you can just keep it going forever, and that's just not how it is. It takes collapses. Right. This is me. This is me trying to tell you. You can't have, if you understand the way your body functions, your body, your heart, right? If you're watching this, you probably have a heartbeat, right? I'm assuming, unless you're Dick Cheney, you have a heartbeat, okay? And that means that blood is coming in, and then it's going out. It beat, 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 boom, bust, boom, bust, boom. That's okay. Your economies. What is an economy? It's just people. An economy is just people. It's just people engaged in commerce. That's it. Okay. It's not some building. It's not a stock market. It's not the bankers. The economy is just people engaged in commerce. It's really that simple. And you're going to have booms and busts. You have good years, bad years, good years, bad years, booms and busts. You have that. That is a normal thing. That's actually rhythmic, and that's actually very healthy, because that means that you get a chance to see how that works. The tide, for Christ's sake, right? Waves don't just come in big waves and just stay going. No, they come in waves, right? And the tide comes in and the tide goes out, right? Like this, there is a rhythm to all of this. And it's all right there in front of everybody. Just the truth, okay? So for those of you thinking that you're going to just have this, and once again, let me just attack this endless energy thing. Like, no, cold fusion's going to save us. There is no such thing, because you're suggesting that there's going to be free energy. This, by the way, is the problem that I actually, for the guy, somebody's asking about my issue with Tesla. Tesla was a brilliant guy. Tesla was wrong. He was. He could never get it to work. He could never get the idea of pulling just ambient energy from the ether, right? You couldn't do that. And then, of course, I would argue this, that if you actually did do that and pull that off on Earth, what would be the implications of that? Now, hey, I'm perfectly okay with somebody being able to pull something like that off, but that energy is coming from somewhere. So where is it coming from? That's the problem. Are you creating any problems on the other side of that you don't understand? Yeah, it's sort of like looking for life in outer space, right? Would you even know it if you found it? All right. I mean, like, this is for real. Like, we understand life from our myopic perspective, but maybe we don't understand life, on some other planet. That would we even recognize it as life? Right? So I'm not trying to get too edgy with you on this, and I'm not trying to get too far out. I don't usually talk about these kinds of topics, but like, this is the kind of stuff that is all related. And unfortunately, a bunch of people still get caught up in this. No, the best thing you could do is function, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, your family, and so on, and try to work with everybody on a voluntary basis. That's really it. And for whatever, and it's just both sides have got this wrong. Both sides are like, no, we need to make people on the right. We make people uncomfortable. We have to abuse people so that way they'll have to work even more and pay bigger rents and keep making us rich. On the left, it's like, no, we have to, just give everybody everything for free. There's no such thing as free, and people's desires for the unearned are forever. Like, you will never get past that. Like, we need to make everybody's, if we can just have everybody's life taken care of on an individual basis and have everything be a basic human right. The problem is that my definition of a basic existence and your definition of a basic existence are going to be different, because that's how people are, right? So, you may be insanely greedy, thinking that you want to go to the doctor every 4 minutes of the day, right? I haven't been to doctors in years. See the problem? So, like, that's the problem there. And it's like, because everybody has a different opinion of what a good life should be. The reason why, by the way, some socialist countries, the small countries that are fairly homogenous, the reason why they're able to pull that off is because everybody there has pretty much the same values. So yeah, you can pull it off in places like Denmark, until they bring in so much diversity that everything changes. Like, sure, and I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just pointing out, like, dude, that's just a fact, right? That's just a demographic reality. Okay, so there you have it. But I mean, like, this idea, this back and forth, has to stop.